I've been thinking about strength of character and how to build strength of character. It's been on my mind for quite some time. And anytime I get this epiphany or this great idea on this topic of strength of character, I pull out my phone and I film my advice. So it's my best bits based on the topic of how to build strength of character. So normally when people film a video, they're in that day, they're in that energy, they've got that way of thinking for that day, they've got those thoughts accumulating around that day. So when they give a piece of advice, these things kind of affect it, and you're not getting all the best bits of wisdom. So you're kind of missing certain bits. And I know myself, when I film one of these videos, a few days later, I go, oh, why didn't I say this? Or why didn't I say this? You know, all these nuggets of wisdom that you've learned throughout your years of studying. And in my example, my years of studying Stoicism, I forget all these things. So the idea of this video is, over the 2 weeks, I've had all these ideas spring to mind, and I've made sure to capture them when they spring to mind, so that I'm sharing all my best bits and not missing out anything from the video. So I hope you enjoy. And today's video is sponsored by the Memento Mori life calendar, which you can get 10% off with code STOIC. I know you know what Memento Mori is, so I don't have to explain it to you. I hope you enjoy. I think one of the greatest Stoic concepts to build stronger character, and it can make you, as Marcus Aurelius says, like the rock that the waves crash over. You know, you stay strong, you stay steady during uncertain times, during the storm. You weather the storm and you stay there like the rock. And I also think it helps you see things from a higher place, as if you are looking down. I've heard the idea that you're watching a stream go by, and these are events, problems, emotions, all just flowing by, and you can sit on the bank of the river and you can view them without bias, without attachment. You can view them and then you can solve the problem, or you can think about the emotion. I think it's a very powerful tool, instead of being stuck in the river and being stuck in the stream, and these problems, these emotions are just washing you downstream. They're drowning you and you're struggling to stay on top. And when you're drowning and being washed downstream, it's hard to actually view what the problem is, or view what the situation is, or the emotion is. So the best way, I think, in order to be able to stand on that bank of the river and look into the river of your problems and your emotions, is the concept of memento mori. So memento mori, it's a Latin phrase that translates to roughly remember death, or remember that you are mortal. I like the idea of remembering death, and you keep death at the forefront of your mind. And it doesn't just make you a stronger character, it doesn't just make you be able to see problems as less, as you understand that at the end of it all, you will die. So a lot of problems are diminished in the face of death. But it helps you be grateful for every moment you have. It helps you be present for every moment that you are a part of, because ultimately you remember that this is fleeting. This life that you are living now will pass you by. And I think it's very powerful. It's a very powerful tool to help you be strong, not be fazed by everyday problems, but also how to be a good person, how to be present, how to enjoy every moment. I'll just quickly explain the concept. Memento mori is to remember death. People keep a tattoo to remember. They'll keep a tattoo here, or something in plain sight, so they can remember that they are mortal, or they carry a pendant like a skull or a timer, a sand timer, to remember that time is running out. You can get a life calendar. You know, you tick down the days until your death. It's just a reminder that you will die, and many people push this away. They like to ignore the fact of death. They like to try outrun death, but no one can outrun death. We all die. Everyone that has ever come before us, all these great kings and leaders and warriors, all these strong characters, they ultimately just end up dead. But one thing people don't think when they think of memento mori, yes, it can help you think that one day you will die and that your life is precious, but also every single moment you live, every thing that you do, every person you meet, every item you hold, ultimately these things will not, they don't belong to you, they are borrowed. There's a great song by the streets, I believe, called Everything is Borrowed. You know, these things do not last forever. If you go to the park and meet your friends, you're having a nice day, that will never happen again. That moment will be gone. And understanding that every moment you have is precious because it will be the last time that ever happens, I think that adds more weight to these things. When you go for a coffee with someone, you understand this will never happen again. Yeah, you may go for a coffee with them another time, but that present time will never happen again. And then another thing is, if you meet up with some friends, you know, how do you know that you'll never meet up with those friends again in your life? You know, people go separate ways, people go abroad, people get married, people have separate lives, and you may never be with these people again. Now, it's not to say that they'll die. I mean, they will die eventually, but in 3 years' time, that may be the last time you ever spend with these people that you love, or these people that you enjoy the company of. So when you keep that thought in your mind, it helps you be very present and be grateful for the moment you're having right now. So, memento mori is a great way to be a stronger character, understanding that ultimately we all die, and getting over the fear of death. It really holds people back from truly living. I certainly remember when I was younger, it would be a big cause of stress and worry and anxiety, thinking that one day I would die, and thinking, oh, what happens if I don't wake up when I go to sleep? And I remember one night, I thought, what would happen? I really thought, because it was just like an idea or a concept that stressed me out, worried me, and I would be crying at night as a young boy. And one night I actually thought, like logically, I was like, what would happen if I don't wake up? Like, what would really happen? And I came to the conclusion I wouldn't even know about it. So it's nothing really. And when I realised that, I stopped being kept up all night. In fact, I think I went to sleep just fine that night. And ever since, I've never worried about death, because when it comes for us, we don't know. And when it's not coming for us, well, I mean, it's always coming for us. But when it's there, we don't know. When it's not there, it's not there. So it's something not to worry about. The day that death comes, we will not know. So it's nothing to worry about. And when it's the death of loved ones, when it's not there, it's not there. Same concept. And when that day comes, we have to understand that we gave everything we could to enjoy their company, or to live our life with them, to be present with them, to be grateful for their life when it was there. And we can also be grateful and enjoy the things that left us. So the ideas, the lessons, the memories, the little things that people leave behind that you don't say, the nuances of behavior, or the routines, or the little things that you got from them, a certain song that you sang with them or spent time with them. These things people leave behind. And yes, one day those things will also be gone. Just a reminder to be grateful for the things you have, and don't hold on to things, because everything will slip through your fingers at some point in your life. And if it doesn't slip through your fingers, then you slip away before that thing got away from you. You have power over your own mind, not outside events. That is a quote by Marcus Aurelius, and it's a perfect quote to think about when you're trying to build strength of character. The idea is, very simple, that these outside events, these things that happen around the world and to us, you know, like just the traffic, the weather, accidents, rude people, all these things, these externals that you have no control over, you have no power over this. But you have power over your mind. The way you perceive these events, the opinions you form from these events, the motivations that are formed from these events, the catalyst that causes change, that way of thinking that you have when the event happens, that's what you have power over. You have power over your own mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength. The strength comes because you're not a victim to these events. These events happen to you, or they happen for you, they happen around you, but you still choose to do something. You still have that option, that power over your own mind to say, hey, this bad thing has happened. but I see it as a positive for me to build strength of character. I see this thing as the catalyst for change in my life. And that's where the power comes, because this thing can happen to you and you feel powerless over this thing, or maybe you try to seek power over this thing, but it is impossible. And accidents happened. You can't change that. You can't do anything to stop that accident from happening. In a sense, you're helpless to that. When you understand that you cannot stop this thing, then you have ultimate power over your own mind. And that's where the strength comes. You can choose to do good from this thing. You can choose to learn from this thing. This can be a catalyst for change. I think a great example of how to build strength of character would be through an extreme example of Miyamoto Musashi, who was a famous Ronin, samurai and philosopher. He's known for fighting over 60 duels and obviously never losing. He wrote this book called The Dokudo, which was based on 21 precepts of how to walk alone. So it's a very extreme example of self-discipline and mental fortitude, because that's what he's known for living this Ronin lifestyle and being so disciplined, like insane discipline, that people would admire this discipline and this mental fortitude this way of being so focused that he had. I mean, you need to be focused to live the type of life he lived. He's a very interesting character. But he taught 21 precepts. Maybe I'll do a video on it, the way of walking alone. Some sound very extreme, but it's because of his extreme lifestyle that he lived. But you can follow these to also develop this self-discipline that he had, maybe not to such an extreme extent, but he also had, he taught and he had these rules. One of his rules for self-discipline was to avoid doing things just because they feel good. And I think that it's hard to put this into practice, or it's hard to understand the meaning behind this, because sometimes we eat food that feels good, but obviously that food serves another purpose, that it feeds us. Sometimes we do hobbies that feel good, and people will say, this hobby feels good, can I not do that? They'll say to Miyamoto, can I not do this hobby because that feels good? But the idea behind it is that sometimes we just do things that feel good to give us that dopamine, but it serves no purpose except maybe degrading our character if it's negative behavioural traits that feel good, or vices that we rely on to feel good, maybe even addictions. So how do you combat this? Well, you need rules for your life. The Stoics had the virtues, courage, wisdom, temperance and justice, and then there is also the nature that the Stoics followed, the nature of the universe that we are all a part of, and to live in accordance with nature was one of the most important things of Stoicism. And what does it mean to live in accordance with nature? Well, human nature is to be good and live for everyone else, in a sense, because our nature is tied together. Doing something good for yourself is to do something good for others, and vice versa. Everything should balance itself out. So you have these rules in place. Not just these, I like to follow the 4 Stoic virtues of courage, wisdom, temperance and justice, because they're very strong foundations to make your decisions off. So if you're wanting to do something because it feels good, but it kind of goes against these things, like justice, maybe it's injustice, or instead of courage it's cowardice, or instead of temperance it's greed and impatience. So you have these foundations to go off, but you can make your own foundations, things that you want to follow, and you can do this through virtue modeling, which is the idea of people you admire, the traits you admire about them. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your teacher, maybe it's a celebrity or a philosopher, and when you're about to take an action, you look towards your model, this person you've modeled yourself off, or people you've modeled yourself off, and you think, would they do this? Why wouldn't they do this? And such. And these can help guide your decisions. So as Miyamoto says, avoid doing things just because they feel good, and they'll help you build that discipline and focus on the things that you need to do. So another way to build your strength of character, I think, is quite a a fun way to build your strength of character, or at least I think it is through seeing difficulties and stressful times and hardship. I think, times of annoyance, irritants, see these as a challenge that comes with a reward if you don't lose the challenge. So say you normally get stuck in traffic and you just get angry, swearing, hitting the steering wheel, these kind of things, just getting yourself frustrated, then you lose. But imagine if you was to make it through the whole challenge, the whole 30-minute drive back from work without getting stressed or frustrating yourself. Then just imagine you was given like £20. I'm sure you'll make it through the situation £20 richer, and every day you'll do this, you'll get £20 each time you do it, and I'm sure you'll become a rich person. But not just rich, after a while this challenge will become easy, and then you can seek challenges like this in your daily life. You can seek challenges like this in your daily life. Well, I think the reward in the real world is much better than £20. You see, if you make it through a difficult situation, someone's annoying you, and you keep your peace, then you develop that habit and you develop that characteristic that remains peaceful under difficult times. And that translates to other areas of your life. When a very difficult situation arises, you're able to keep your peace better because you've practiced it. So when you're going through stressful times, difficult times, irritants, annoyance, someone's being a pain, then see these as challenges. If you can keep your virtue, if you can keep your character whilst going through these times. And it doesn't mean to back down from the situation. It doesn't mean to give in and let people walk all over you. It means to keep true to your character. It means to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is to stand up for yourself. Well, most of the time it is. If you keep doing this, then the reward is you build your character, you build your strength of character, you learn these habits, these good habits. So when you're going through these difficult times, just see it as a little challenge, like a game, and you can see the reward at the end if you complete this mission. If any of you have played games, most people apparently, like 70% of adults play games now, which is very interesting, because I remember when games weren't cool. But anyway, if you see it like a game and you can see the prize at the end is like, you see your character bar going up. So it's like patience, you see your patience bar, and every time you make it through these missions where it's stuck in traffic or not complaining about something or someone's annoying you and not giving in to their games, then your patience bar rises and you start to level up your patience. And this goes for every characteristic, and the opposite is true as well. If you keep giving in to your anger or your vices, you build negative traits and they get stronger and stronger and they're harder to face. I know a lot of people like to put things off in hopes that the future self will deal with the problem, but it's quite the mistake in life, a very big mistake, because the more you put things off, the more things you have to do in the future, but the more your future self is the type of person that puts things off. So you've got more challenges and you're now a lazier person in the future. So deal with things now. That's another tip for today. I know this video is about becoming a stronger character, and I like all these concepts, these Stoic concepts and these Stoic principles and advice that can help you become a stronger character. But one thing I've been thinking recently, and this goes against the point of the whole video, is that you don't always have to become a stronger character. You don't have to do these things to become stronger, to become better. A lot of the time, you just need to understand that you are already strong. I think everyone's much more capable, much better, much stronger than they think they are. But, things in life hold you back. Concepts and ideas and beliefs about yourself hold you back. I think ultimately people are still the younger form of themselves, living within themselves. Some fears or beliefs that you held as a child that you never got over, you have took to your adulthood and they still hold you back. And a lot of people think that they need to get stronger, get more disciplined, get better. They think they need to learn these concepts that I'm teaching right now, these Stoic concepts, to become a better person. But ultimately, I think you need to understand that you are already pretty remarkable. You're already a strong person. If you just make a note. If you get a notebook or on your phone and you just write down why you are remarkable, why you are strong, why you are an incredible person, and you just keep writing these ideas. Some may sound silly, you know, like I did a video a while ago about how to prove that you are confident, and I think going out into public, walking through shops filled with hundreds of people, it requires a level of confidence. There's so much uncertainty when you're around hundreds or thousands of people, random strangers. You don't know what could happen, yet you don't even think that this requires confidence because you have this confidence. But then when you take the concept that you're not confident and you put it into like the work environment where you have to give a speech to 20 people, and now suddenly you don't think you're confident. They're just concepts and beliefs about yourself that I think you need to start washing away. So it's not just idea. I know the concept of this video is to become a stronger character or become a stronger person, mentally more disciplined, focused. But I think something I've learned recently is that we are already greater than we can imagine. And this isn't some positive self-help, like pump up thing that you say to people when they're feeling down and you go, oh, you are better than you imagine. No, truly convince yourself, not convince yourself, just show yourself the evidence, believe in yourself that you are already more remarkable than you think. Certain beliefs we've held as children, we've carried on into our adulthood, and it holds us back a lot. I know some beliefs as children, especially creative beliefs and beliefs about yourself, what you can be. You know, some children don't have limits. They believe they can do anything. I think these beliefs are helpful. I think these creative beliefs that you can have fun and express yourself in any way, these are helpful to carry on into your adulthood. But I think life and society and certain things have made us hold on to certain beliefs stronger than others, beliefs that you're not good or you're not capable. I think this is why a lot of people get imposter syndrome, because they hold the idea that they're not that good, their self-belief isn't that high, and they don't feel like they belong. But if you're there, then you belong. You got there somehow, and any way you travel there, it's your way. You've made it there. Other people couldn't get to where you was. That's not to put other people down. But yeah, I think try to understand that you are already a strong character. You know, like some people struggle to go to the gym or do some exercise or do some physical discipline. But I think that's just because you've held this belief about yourself that these things are difficult. You think these things are challenging, but really they can be fun. Maybe you can enjoy yourself doing these things, you know. You don't have to put so much pressure on yourself that these things are tough. I know a lot of people, they get psyched up that they're going to do this exercise. They're like, wow, I'm going to do it. But really, this thing isn't something to get psyched up for. It's just something you can do. It's something you can enjoy. You're an adult now. These practices can be enjoyable. I was thinking this about cold showers and cold baths. I used to get psyched up. I'll get a song playing, get prepared to go into the cold water. And then I'll go into the cold water. I'll brace myself. I'll be breathing heavy. And then finally I can relax. And I remember, this is like a few days ago, I just thought to myself, it's not even a problem. It's just some cold water. Actually, it's quite refreshing. I kind of like it. Oh, well, I really like the cold. And then I got in without bracing myself, without going, oh, it's cold. Just acted like it's just nice and refreshing. And it was. I didn't have to struggle. I didn't have to tense up and be prepared for this cold water. It was just something enjoyable. And I think that's the belief that I held, that getting into cold showers is a difficult thing that strong people can do and you have to get psyched up for. I don't think you have to be that strong. You know, I've seen young kids go in cold waters and cold plunges and wild swimming in these cold waters, and it's because they see it as something to enjoy. They're not trying to get psyched up to get in this cold water. But anyway, the point is that you don't have to become stronger or become better all the time. I think sometimes you just have to hack away at these beliefs about yourself that are damaging and just understand you are already strong. Seneca said that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. And the idea is that if you want to strengthen your body, then you go to the gym, you work out, you do physical practices. You push yourself, and over time you develop strength. Your body recovers and you get stronger and stronger. This progressive overload strengthens your body. This labor that you go through strengthens the body. And difficulties are the same. When you go through tough times and you overcome them, then your mind becomes stronger to these difficulties, and you develop this strength of character from the difficult times that you go through. And you notice this with people that have high stress jobs, or they have been through difficult times. They seem a lot mentally stronger. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. I think a caveat to that quote that I've thought about recently is that yes, difficulties do strengthen the mind as labor does the body. But with labor, if you go to the gym, you work out, but you don't get the correct rest, or you don't eat correctly, you don't do the correct exercises, the correct recovery, then your body won't actually get stronger. It'll get weaker and it will fatigue and be damaged. So this labor is actually damaging to your body. And that is the same with difficulties. If you go through difficulties and you do not get over them correctly, you do not get the correct help or overcome these obstacles in the correct manner, you give in and you feel weak, you become victim to these circumstances, then these difficulties will weaken the mind. They will cripple you until you can see past them, until you can overcome these things that will hold you back. So Seneca says, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. I think it's a great way to build strength of character. How to build strength of character? There's a great exercise that I've formulated on how to build strength of character. Is you get a bucket list. You write a bucket list of things you want to be able to do, things outside your comfort zone, big or small. So you write this bucket list. Could be 100 things, 1,000 things, could be 10 things. The more the better, the more options the better. And you write them all down and you aim to tick them off. And every day you look at this list and think, what can I tick off today? And you start ticking them off. You build up these things that are out of your comfort zone. And you drag them into your comfort zone by doing them regularly, and you keep ticking them off. You do the thing, and you find it easy, so maybe you start doing it multiple times. This thing on your bucket list you've ticked off 10 times, and eventually it's no longer out of your comfort zone, so you can just cross it off of your list. It's a new concept, bucket list. Maybe I'll think of a name for it, but it's just like, people have all these great, exciting things they want to do before they die. Well, this is things that you need to do for your character. I have one last bit of advice, and it's something I've been doing for a long time, but something hopefully you can join in on. It is using a memento mori life calendar. It's quite an odd thing. The concept of reminding yourself that your days are numbered and they're coming to an end. And it seems so morbid. And I've had people say to me, isn't that morbid? Why have you got this calendar? And then I explain it, and you can see that there's a curiosity there. People are interested in this idea of facing your death, seeing your death as this thing, it's a fact of life, not being so scared of it. I think people think death is such a taboo subject and they will avoid it. So this reminder, you have it in your room, in your office. I have it in my office. And you have it there, and you see right in front of you the numbers of your days and how long you may have left. And it doesn't scare you. It doesn't make you feel bad. It actually makes you think, oh, I'm wasting time right here. Or, oh, I better do that thing. I better see this person. I better not waste this time, because I can see last week I filled out that block. That's a remarkable thing. When you fill out a block and you think of the whole week, as you're filling in that block, you think of the whole week. And you go, sometimes you're like, what did I do that week? Or sometimes you go, wow, how did I live so much life in 1 week? It's remarkable. But I think a lot of people have this curiosity when they hear about these calendars. And all I can say is when you start to fill one in, you understand the concept of memento mori so fully. It's such a cool feeling. And I know I know people that aren't interested in Stoicism that I've just said, hey, you should try using this memento mori life calendar, and they start filling it in, and it's all they talk about for a long time. they say, oh, this person thought it was weird, or this is so cool, look how much I did this week, or it really makes me want to do more stuff. I don't know, it helps me be present and grateful for the time we have. And I'm sure if you watch this video, I remember at the start of last week, I don't know, I was eating dinner or lunch, and I was talking about the topic of memento mori. So I'm sure most of you already know what memento mori means. I know a lot of you are followers of Stoicism, and maybe you just know about Latin and topics, or maybe read Nietzsche, whatever it is. But I know some of you probably didn't know what memento mori is, so hopefully you learned something. But you don't have to buy a calendar in order to do this. Like I said in one of the videos, is you can just keep this thought in your head that one day you will die, or set something on your phone, like a wallpaper of a skull or a timer or anything, just something to remind you of your own mortality. And that does work. All I'm saying is that this poster, count down your days, it makes you live in a different way. I can't really explain it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm doing more like this, where I keep a topic on my mind and I film it throughout the weeks, months, maybe even the year when these thoughts come to mind. I'm already doing some of your suggestions, so I'm following on those suggestions, and I've started recording them. One at the moment is how to care less about what people think. Different words were used, but I can't put that onto YouTube, unfortunately. But yes, with the calendar, you can get 10% off with code STOIC, if I haven't said that already. And I hope it helps whoever buys it out there, as it also helps me support what I'm doing with this channel. It helps me do the interviews like I did with Master Shiheng Yi or Ethan Suplee, or some new ones that are on the way that I'm very excited to share. If you want to see more of what I'm doing, head over to Instagram at TheEverydayStoic, where there is 411,000 people from today, like-minded Stoics that join in the community, sharing their ideas, their thoughts on Stoicism, their teachings on Stoicism. I learn a lot from all of you followers on Instagram. So if anyone isn't on Instagram in the community, then join in, it's great. You can become a YouTube member and get the membership perks that you can see if you click the membership link. I actually don't know where that is. Or you could subscribe or follow me personally at MulliganBrothers. Whatever you decide to do, I hope this video helps you in some way, and remember to be present right now and follow on your day with the same energy that you've got now, the same frame of mind that you're in, to do good today, to improve your character, or to be nice to someone. I'm sure you're all having those thoughts after hearing some of this advice, and I want you to carry on that throughout your day. So thank you for watching, have a great day. To do for your character.